Hi, welcome back to Chop's Garage. I've done it again, bought a basket case. Now, for those of you finding my channel for the first time, my name's James. My business is CG Car Sales, aka Chop's Garage, and I have a problem. I will buy pretty much anything. So I started off this Saturday morning by going down to the main dealership to look at the part exchanges. I bought 3 cars in total: a Corsa 1.2 petrol, a Mocha diesel, I think they're 1.7, aren't they, the Mocha diesels, not 100% sure, and this 2004 Land Rover Discovery. Now this is a 2.5 TD and I think it's called a Pursuit. And as a dealer, this is probably one of the highest risk vehicles I could ever consider retailing. But as those of you who watch my channels on a regular basis will know, I love a challenge, I love an underdog, and I love a makeover. And underneath all this, I think there is a decent car here. So I can't admit to knowing an awful lot about Discoveries. Living in the southwest, you see them everywhere, all over the place. But from what I hear, they just have a really bad reputation for reliability. Now, obviously, this is an 18-year-old car now, so pretty much any car can be unreliable at 18 years old. Not only that, they're quite underpowered. So this great big machine has, I think, a grand total of 113 brake horsepower available at 4,000 revs. So you have to wonder why people locally use these things to tow stuff about. I think that's probably down to the torque. The pull-in power, 265 foot-pound of torque, is available from just 1,500 revs. So all of its grunt is really low down. And the way it delivers it is pretty much like an agricultural vehicle, to be perfectly honest. No offence to any owners out there. Starting off, one thing particularly good about a vehicle this old is it's only ever had 2 owners. It's only 2 owners on this vehicle. And it's only done 85,000 miles. We'll check for sure in a minute, but I think it's only 85,000 miles. It does have an MOT that runs, I think, for another 6 months or so, but it makes pretty scary reading. We'll go through that together in a bit. But I'll tell you why I'm not overly bothered about that, actually. We'll have a little look a bit later on. So, like I say, from the V5, it tells me it's a Pursuit model. I don't know an awful lot about that. But we've got alloy wheels, loads of tread on the front tyre there. The bodywork is just all dirty. We're not going to have to give it a good clean to get an idea how it will look underneath this. But I'm thinking a good clean off and a machine polish, and this is going to look cracking. Those of you, again, that see my previous videos know what I can do with the car. So I think we can turn it around. I think we've got pretty much new tyres here on the back as well. Body kit's a bit faded here, but that will paint up okay. We can use some, once we clean it up, we can use some plastic dip, something similar. Or I've got other plastic paint, textured plastic paint, actually is probably the better one, and I can do to clean that up. But again, all the paintwork's just got some sort of light scratching on it that I think will buff out. There doesn't seem to be any real sort of dings or dents. I know rust can be a big thing on these, and the place I was told to look is here. But that all seems pretty, well, actually all great, actually, to be fair. Again, round the back, the plastics just need treating and tidying up. We've got a tow hitch. Of course we've got a tow hitch. Who's not going to have a tow hitch on one of these? New spare tyre on there. That's probably the original Michelin. Probably never been off, I would have thought. Getting down this side, we've got a slight misalignment with the bump here, maybe. But no dings or dents again down this side of the car. No dings or dents there. New rubber there. I think it's had tyres all round looking at it, because the tyre there looks new as well. Again, all these plastics need to be treated. But there doesn't seem to be any major bodywork going on. Up on the roof looks okay. Let's have a look-see inside. So inside, like the outside, is dirty. It needs one hell of a clean. But when you start to look at it in a bit more detail, you realise that underneath it, again, the basis is good. The seat is in really good condition here, as is the passenger seat. Gaiters need either treating or swapping out. It's got dirty rubber mats on, but I think the carpets underneath are actually going to clean up all right. Back seats, it's obviously had an MOT recently because all the seat belts are still in their position. Again, they're all gonna, you know, the condition is actually really good. Underneath the dirt, there's no tears or holes or anything like that. I think the official mats here, look, the carpet underneath is in really good nick. The backs of the seats are good. Now, one of the big pluses with this one, I'm told by the people in the know, is it's got the extra seats here, look. So I'm going to embarrass myself now because I don't know how these seats come down. Okay, so it seems they lift up before they come out. They've got drinks holder on the side of them, look at that. And then, there we go. Beautiful. So yeah, proper 7-seater, we've got another seat there. And then what we've got up here, we've got like headrests up here, I think. Yeah, little headrests come down at the roof. Don't know how easy these are to put back again. Fold that down. And presuming there's a release tab or something underneath here. There you go, right in front of you. Pull the tab there. And then pop them in here. And I think this handle here locks them in place. So yeah, that's an appealing extra. We've still got the pullover cover, which is nice. Obviously lots of dog hair needs to be got out of the back of this. But anyway, again, who watches my regular videos will know dog hair holds no fears for me. We've done that recently, don't know what that is. Toolkit maybe. So hopping in the driver's seat, the exact mileage is 82,000, so quite low for this age of vehicle. You'd expect it to be, well, you know, probably over 140,000 odd. So starts up on the button, no warning lights, half a tank of diesel, bonus, so you know this is getting driven for a bit. Spec wise, CD radio, aircon, all round electric windows, so nothing massive, but then again, at this age of vehicle you didn't get much more than that, did you? Now we have got handbooks all in here. So yeah, nice, we've got the original folder with the handbooks there. It's got a fairly good service history. I haven't gone through all the receipts yet. I think there might be some receipts because I think the book was maxed out. So we've got services, where are our services? 2006, 2007, 2008. When's that one? Hasn't got a date on it. I'm assuming 2009, 2013. 2014, 16. 18. I don't think we've got any more in here after that, but I have got some receipts to go through as well. I doubt it'll be a full service history, but it has been serviced. On it, coolant is bang on where it should be. It's a nice colour as well. I'd be surprised if there isn't more service history after 2018, just looking around the vehicle. Oil might be slightly overfilled, possibly, ever so slightly. But it's a good clear colour for a diesel. That's really clear actually. Normally diesels are black as you like, aren't you? So I'd be surprised if there isn't a service history fairly recently on that. Now I'm told the previous owner had an AA inspection done on it before they bought it, and that wasn't that long ago. They've only had it for a couple of years. And it came through okay on that. The AA guy gave it the green light to go ahead. And it certainly seems mechanically to be okay. We'll go for a little drive in a minute. Seems to be quite a bit of room to work around the engine in this. Great big chassis rails running either side there, but it actually seems like it wouldn't be that hard to get in compared to modern stuff and have a little tinker if you needed to. Now we'll get on this before the MOT warriors do. Seems to be a group of people that think that when I put a car up on my channel they need to go and check the MOT history. Like that isn't the first thing I did before I looked at buying the car. So the MOT. So here's the MOT. It's got an MOT until December 2022. First thing up though on the advisories is that there's an anti-roll bar linkage bush that's worn but not giving excessive movement, so that's nothing to worry about. Then the rest is all about corrosion on the underside of the vehicle. Now obviously it would fail if it was going through the bodywork. This is surface corrosion. This is the big trouble with MOTs, is that they it's down to the MOT tester whether to note corrosion on the underside of the body or not, because obviously when they poke it, if it goes through and in a prescribed area, then it has to be welded. This one is all about surface rust. So I expected to see something quite horrendous, but when I got underneath it and had a look, it's got quite a lot of wax oil on it. Someone's had a go at doing this previously, or they've done it afterwards. And I actually think for the age of the vehicle, you know, yes, you can see some surface rust through there on some of the components, but it's not actually that bad. It's not actually that bad. The trouble with having that on an MOT though is people assume that the car is absolutely rotten, but as you can see underneath, it actually seems pretty. I can't see any welding either. It seems like it's original metalwork. So ideally what would happen is I'd get it down to my MOT guys and have them wire brush the underside of it and give it a decent coating and then get the advisory off. But I'm looking underneath it, and again, I have to say, for the age of the vehicle, I mean, yes, there's some surface rust there, you can see, but if you wire brush that down and treated that, that'd be fine. It's not going through the metalwork at all. So yeah. So next thing to do, let's go for a little spin. So everyone, out in the disco. Yes, I haven't set up my mic yet. I have got it in a box. I need to set it up, but I'm running around like a you know what the score is with me, and it's in a box on the shelf, needs to be set up. So I'll just talk loudly, like I always did before. So yeah, out in the disco, doing the traditional run home. Might as well do it. It's got half a tank of diesel in it, which is worth a fortune now, isn't it? Now, I can't imagine for a minute I'm going to be using the words power or speed at all while driving this. As I said, with 113 brake horsepower at 4,000 revs, power isn't coming into this. 265 foot-pound of torque at 1500 is pretty tasty, but again, it's still a heavy vehicle. So, initial sort of feelings, it goes through the gears absolutely fine. There's no woolliness or concerns with the gear change. Steering is nice. There's no real play in it. It feels quite direct. It's nice. As in, you know, it's as nice as this, as basically what is a trailer on wheels can be. But no, it feels all right. It's obviously a bit wallowy. It feels an awful lot like the pickup trucks I've been driving recently. I wouldn't say it's really any more refined from them. See, I missed a gear down there, a hill there, and now I'm having to drop down, get back up onto the torque again. The noise of the engine isn't too bad actually, it's not too intrusive. There doesn't seem to be any rattles, which I'm quite impressed with. I've got the glove box open, so there's a little bit of a rattle there where it's hitting my back, but other than that, there doesn't seem to be any rattles on the interior. I'm quite impressed at how together it still feels. I thought at this age it would be a little bit, like say, a little bit more crashy and a little bit more rattly, but it actually seems to be quite well screwed together. Temperature staying bang on halfway, doesn't seem to be any issues with that. No warning lights on the dash still. I'm surprised the seat doesn't seem to have any up or down adjustment in the height of the base, and me at 6'2", if you were like 6'4", your head would be rubbing the ceiling. So although there's loads of space, you know, to the sides of you, if you're taller, I imagine your head would be touching the ceiling. You'd be looking into this a little bit. And let's have a better look and see if there's something I've missed on the adjustment. So yeah, people say, oh, you know, sales videos, they're not really, you know, very few subscribers by the videos. It's just me letting you know how the car I've bought is. You know, surely you've got to be interested in whether what I've bought is any good or not. And initial feelings are that it is. Seems fine. Stereo's working fine, electric windows work fine. So on the face of it, guys, looks like it's a decent buy. I can see the appeal of being this bit higher up. It is a relaxing ride being up here, and you see a little bit more of the countryside, you see a little bit further ahead. It's funny though, it doesn't feel like when I was driving the Navara the other day. The Navara felt really big and it felt really tight on some of the back lanes. This for some reason doesn't feel as bad, and I say for some reason, I would have thought this is as big as the Navara. Perhaps it isn't as wide. like I say, changes through the gears absolutely fine. Doesn't seem to be any sort of prop play, you know, any shove back and forth in the diff. All the suspension seems good. I say no knocks and bangs, no whir of any bearings or anything like that. I'd say it's been a well looked after truck. Anyway, so next stage is my favourite bit, of course, clean up time. So it's going to get a full machine polish to really bring out that black. All the plastics will be treated. I'll repaint the wheel arch trims, and the interior will get the mother of all hoovers out and shampoos. I'll try and get hold of some gear gaiter replacements, or I'll recolour these again and then get it up for sale. What's it worth? Well, it's an interesting market. These are really strange. Perhaps some of you that sell more of this kind of stuff will be able to give me a better idea, but I'm looking around and there's some crazy prices. There's some really high, you know, I've seen them 7, 8, 9, 10k, so same age. So I don't really know what makes a difference between them to make one worth sort of 10k. I think they've got kind of a retro cool to them. I think it's kind of like you can have one of these, have money, and have one of these, and if it was mint, still look kind of like it made sense, kind of thing. So my personal feeling is, if I do all of that work, put a new MOT on it, get rid of those advisories with the underbody, I think it's 5k. I think at least maybe I'm told 5495, but I'm thinking 4995 is a nice figure. That's if I've got a kind of feeling that this is probably going to get snapped up from one of my friends locally before I do all the work, because they won't want to pay the premium and they'll just take it as it is. So if you want to see how the cleanup turns out, if you want to see what we can make this into, and you want to see how I do selling it on, make sure you smash that subscribe button. It costs you nothing, just gives you alerts when more videos come out. And if you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button below, because that will recommend it to other people. And as always, leave your comments down below. I'll try and answer as many as I can. I'm always interested in your feedback. Remember, we've got loads more stock coming in as well for you to see. We've got that awful 165,000 automatic micro with the engine management light coming in. We've also got two other cars I bought from BCA, the Ford Focus and the Peugeot 208. We're going to find out what they're like. I've also got the two other cars I bought this morning coming in, which was the Vauxhall Mocha and the little Corsa, which I think has got a bad timing chain. So, as I said, if you want to see how all that plays out, make sure you hit that subscribe button. As always, thanks a lot everyone, catch you again soon.